Alright folks, so here I have an Arkanoid original board. As you can see, it's missing the custom here, the custom IC. That's okay, I can fix that. I know already that it doesn't boot. It boots, well, it doesn't boot, it just shows a black screen. I can see a couple of other things as well here. You can see this cap that's actually connected to the 12-volt rail is broken. Where I'm going to replace that before I do anything else. I'm just going to inspect the board overall. There's a resistor here that's gone. I'm going to replace that as well. Maybe give it a clean and see what we get. Hopefully we'll see. Do you know what? I'm actually going to show you the black screen, just for the sake of recording this. There you go. We are plugged in. This is plugged in as well. There's a faint glow on the screen. This monitor is on, but there's nothing coming up. I can switch this on as well. I did sometimes get a sort of a signal, but there's just no sync here coming up. It will tell me that there's no signal, and if I probe sort of the there's actually just it's completely dead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the schematics and just to start from the edge connector and work my way, because there's nothing coming at the RGB here, there's no signal, whatever. So work my way back in from the EPROMs, these are the color proms, sorry, back into where the signal sort of stops, and see what we get. But first I want to replace these two guys. Man, talk about a crazy chase and a few times. So I've replaced that transistor resistor and capacitor, and still nothing on screen. So then I started looking at the sync signal, and I was just seeing, you know, dead sync signal, which is, you know, it's not surprising. There's nothing, there's no RGB, there's nothing. So I took the sync signal because it was just a single sync signal, so a single line. So I just traced from here. It goes to that CMP sync, which is actually here. It goes to this LS74, and then so there was nothing coming out the output here. So I just took one of the inputs here, just to sort of at random in a way. But you'll see it actually goes back to the same IC. So I just traced it to here, these LS171, and I saw that there was no clock here, and it wasn't actually, the clock isn't on the schematic. So I did just to trace and just do a lot of tracing. That took forever. That took an hour at least. So those two clocks are tied. That's to LS161, and it goes back to this LS74, which is the same as this one, just different pins, and there was no output here either. So one of the input is set to high, to +5, but pin 2 goes to this other LS171, which is interesting because this guy, this input, which was also dead, all traces back as well to this LS171, the output on these, so 11 and 14. And I was looking for, I just checked all the signals, and I could see that there was nothing coming at these input, which is 7 and 10, which are these two guys, EMP, ENT. I'm not exactly sure what these do. This is a bit 4-bit counter. Anyway, so there's nothing coming into these, and there should be. So I looked here, checked everything. There's inputs coming everywhere, but there's no output coming out of that CY at pin 15. So I do suspect that this IC might have something dodgy going on, and do you know what? I'm gonna replace it. There you go. There's an error on that IC. Great news, actually. So, well, great news. I don't know if that fixes our problem, but it's one less faulty IC on that board. Alright, I got that IC replaced, and well, we just have to test. Yes. So this image, I just reboot, but obviously that shows we got RGB, that boot here, and then that IO error is actually because we're missing the module here. So I'm just gonna put in my repro module, just put some sockets, pin headers, and put my module here, and well, see what happens. Alright, so I got the module. There's an easy way to know where to plug in, which way this goes. There's a P1 here, and it should go into the one slot here. So there you go, like that. This is the way, and there you go. We got the hardware check. So for the timer, let's wait. There you go. And actually, I'll get some sound. There you go, all working good now. Just gonna lower the sound. But so yeah, this is interesting. This was actually quite a long winded one, even though it was only one IC that I needed to fix, but I had to go through the just check. I based myself on the sync that was missing, and I sort of traced it back. So I went to one here that goes that sync signal here, or it's coming from that sync signal. It was at LS74, and one of the inputs, where two of the inputs go back to this one, but I went this way into this guy back up here. No, sorry, yeah, this guy, traced the clock to this guy, then traced it to back here. This IC that was actually missing from the schematics. Probably got, I don't know. Yeah, you can see some of the stuff is missing. I had some traces missing here the last time I fixed an Arkanoid board. Anyway, this was coming from this guy, and found out the signals were missing here, and that's because this IC was dodgy. There was no output here at this pin, even though the inputs were okay. And this is the one here. But there you go. And now with the PC30 title repro module, it's all working fine. I love these Arkanoid boards. They're beautiful, but man, they are a pain to desolder anything, because the holes are so small. The solder wants to get stuck in it, and it gets really hard to remove it properly and clean it properly. But at least there wasn't too many. So yeah, from experience, they are somewhat robust, and I don't really see any Fujitsu ICs. I think I have 3 of these now at this stage, and I haven't seen a Fujitsu IC on any of them. So yeah, that's good news. So, but there you go, folks. This is a repair of Arkanoid, back working just fine. I hope this was interesting. Don't forget, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. There's a YouTube membership and Patreon page if you want to help the channel. Folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.